Hello and welcome to the Wise Senior, your trusted place for guidance, wellness, and inner peace after 60. And today, we're having an honest heart-to-heart about something important, the things that no longer make sense after 70. These are habits, beliefs, and pressures we've carried for years, but maybe it's time to set them down. If you're ready to feel lighter, freer, and more true to yourself, this conversation is for you. For most of her life, Elaine, now 72, believed what society told her, that beauty was a number, a wrinkle-free face, the right shade of lipstick, and the absence of gray. She spent decades chasing youth through creams, dyes, and carefully applied makeup, always trying to meet an impossible standard. But something changed. One morning, after a long night of laughter with her grandchildren and a heart-to-heart with an old friend, she looked in the mirror and really saw herself. Not the fine lines or silver strands. She saw her stories, her strength, her joy. Because the truth is, beauty after 70 isn't about trying to look like you're 40 again. It's about looking alive, fully and unapologetically. Radiance doesn't come from injections or expensive jars on a bathroom shelf. It shines from the way your eyes light up when you talk about someone you love. It glows in the way your smile crinkles your cheeks after hearing a good joke. Even if it's the 100th time you've heard it, those laugh lines, they're a roadmap of a life deeply lived. They tell stories of late-night conversations, belly laughs, and moments that shook you with joy or brought you to tears. Elaine no longer spends hundreds on products promising to erase her age. Instead, she invests in watercolor classes, afternoon picnics, and experiences that make her feel truly beautiful from the inside out. So here's the shift. Beauty isn't something we need to chase anymore. It's something we carry in our eyes, our stories, and the way we show up for ourselves and those we love. Let go of the old definitions. At this stage in life, your beauty is not behind you, it's all around you, and it's never been more real. Margaret, age 74, stood in front of her hallway closet, staring at clothes she hadn't worn in over a decade. Shoes that no longer fit, coats from a different lifestyle, and handbags she forgot she even owned. Each item held a memory, a just-in-case or a sense of guilt for letting it go. But the truth is, after 70, every crowded drawer and overflowing shelf doesn't just collect dust. It collects emotional weight. You see, clutter isn't always about laziness or indecision. Sometimes, it's about holding on to parts of our past that we're afraid to let go of. But what if releasing these objects could open the door to something better? As we age, our needs change. We no longer need a wardrobe for work, piles of kitchen gadgets for entertaining big crowds, or stacks of unread magazines saved for someday. Instead, what we crave is ease, space to move freely in our home, room to breathe deeply, and surroundings that bring us peace instead of pressure. When Margaret began her decluttering journey, it wasn't easy. Each item brought up questions. What if I need this again? What if I'm being wasteful? But she soon realized she wasn't losing anything. She was gaining space, clarity, and freedom. Letting go didn't mean erasing her past. It meant honoring it while creating room for what mattered now. She started small, one drawer, one shelf, one box at a time. She donated clothes that could bring warmth to someone else, passed along books to her local library, and tossed expired items she'd been meaning to deal with for years. And slowly, her home began to reflect her present, not just her past. Decluttering after 70 isn't just about tidying up, it's an act of self-care. It's saying, I choose peace over chaos. I choose now over yesterday. So take a look around. What are you holding on to that no longer serves the life you're living today? Start with one small step, because every item you release makes room, not just in your home but in your heart, for more joy, more movement, and more of what truly matters. Clara, 76, used to step into every disagreement like it was her duty, smoothing over family tension, calming tempers, and trying to fix things before they got worse. For years, she believed that being a good mother, friend, or sister meant being the glue, the one who held everyone together. But these days, Clara has learned a powerful truth: not every conflict deserves your energy. After decades of playing peacemaker, it's time to reassess where your presence is truly needed and where your peace is more important than your participation. Because here's the thing, Stepping into someone else's battle may feel helpful, even noble, but often it only leaves you emotionally drained and caught in the middle of problems that aren't yours to solve. Think about it. How many times have you tried to mediate a squabble between your adult children, only to end up being blamed by both sides, or stayed up late worrying about an argument between friends or relatives that truthfully had nothing to do with you? Clara remembers one moment clearly. Her two daughters were arguing over who should host Thanksgiving. As voices rose, she felt that old familiar urge to intervene, but instead she took a deep breath, poured herself a cup of tea, and simply stepped back. That small act of restraint protected her peace and gave them space to work it out as adults. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is remain neutral, not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. You've earned the right to protect your emotional energy, to say, "This isn't mine to carry," and to let others handle their own growth and resolution. This doesn't mean you love them any less. It means you're choosing your well-being and modeling boundaries and maturity for those around you. When you stop jumping into every disagreement, you start reclaiming your time, your mental space, and your calm. So next time drama knocks at your door, take a page from Clara's book. Pour yourself something warm, step back gently, and remember, not every fire needs your water. Sometimes, peace means letting it burn out on its own. Evelyn used to think that a full calendar meant a full life. Birthday parties, community fundraisers, volunteering, afternoon teas. She said yes to it all. But over time, she began to notice something. Despite being constantly on the go, she rarely felt fulfilled. Instead, she felt drained, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. There's a subtle pressure many women feel, especially after retirement. The pressure to stay busy, to stay involved, to be useful. But here's the truth. Being busy isn't the same as being content. After 70, your time becomes more precious than ever. Every day is an opportunity not to check off a list of obligations, but to choose what genuinely brings you peace and joy. Evelyn remembers one weekend when she attended back-to-back commitments, a charity brunch, a neighbor's birthday, and hosting her book club. By Sunday evening, all she wanted was a quiet hour in the garden, with her journal, but she had given that hour away. That was the moment she decided to change. Now Evelyn asks herself two simple questions before saying yes to anything. Will this bring me joy, and do I have the energy for it? If the answer to either is no, she declines, kindly, but confidently. And surprisingly, most people understand. They respect her honesty, and many even admit they wish they could do the same. The beauty of this stage of life is that you don't owe anyone constant availability. You've earned the right to protect your time, to rest without guilt, and to choose experiences that nourish you. Whether that's walking in nature, reading in silence, or simply doing nothing at all. So if your calendar feels like a burden, it may be time to edit it. Let go of obligations that no longer serve you. Choose stillness over stress, intention over obligation. Because in the end, saying no to others is sometimes the most powerful way to say yes to yourself. Eleanor used to brush off her aches and pains. "It's just part of getting older," she would say. "A little knee stiffness here, a bit of fatigue there." Nothing that seemed urgent, but over time those small things piled up. One morning she realized she was out of breath just walking up the stairs. That was her wake-up call. And here's the thing. There's nothing more inconvenient than losing your health. After 70, our bodies speak to us more clearly than ever. But are we listening? Eleanor decided to make a change. Not a dramatic overhaul, just small, steady steps. Every morning now starts with 10 minutes of gentle stretching. She prepares simple meals on Sundays to avoid processed foods during the week. And she never skips her checkups, even if she feels fine, because she knows prevention is far easier than recovery. These little habits, ones we so often dismiss, can bring back a kind of energy you didn't think was possible. More flexibility in your joints, more clarity in your mind, and more confidence in how you move through the day. The truth is, taking care of your health doesn't have to be complicated. It's about tuning into your body, giving it what it needs, and honoring it for carrying you through all these years. Whether that's swapping out sugary snacks for fresh fruit, choosing to walk instead of sit, or finally bringing up that small concern to your doctor, it all adds up. So ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to feel better tomorrow? Because no matter your age, your body still responds to care. And just like Eleanor discovered, Energy, vitality, and strength don't disappear after 70. In fact, when you treat your health like the priority it is, you might just feel better now than you did a decade ago. Start small. Start today. Your future self will thank you. Grace used to believe that every holiday had to be flawless. The linens had to be pressed, the food plated like a magazine cover, the house spotless from corner to corner. She remembers one particular Thanksgiving. She had spent 3 days preparing, from polishing silverware to trying a complicated new dessert. She did it all. But when the moment finally arrived, she was so exhausted that she could barely keep her eyes open through dinner. And the irony? No one noticed the intricate centerpiece or the perfectly folded napkins, but they did notice she wasn't really there. Not emotionally, not fully. This is a story many women know all too well. We've been conditioned to believe that perfection equals worth, in our homes, our appearance, our efforts. But here's the truth. Perfection is not the goal. Presence is. Now in her 70s, Grace has learned to let go. Her cake might lean slightly to one side, the house might have a bit of dust on the shelves, and yet the laughter rings louder, the memories feel richer, and she finally has the energy to sit down and savor the moment. Letting go of perfection doesn't mean letting go of pride or care. It means shifting your focus from impressing to connecting. It means understanding that your family doesn't need flawless hosting. They need your warmth, your attention, and your love. So from now on, give yourself permission to embrace the imperfect. Use the mismatched dishes, burn the cookies slightly, and laugh about it. Sit down before everyone else is served, because your presence, your joyful, imperfect presence, is the most perfect thing of all. And remember, a lopsided cake still tastes just as sweet, especially when it's shared with the people who matter most. Margaret used to think that long friendships were sacred, that if you'd known someone for 30 or 40 years, you owed them loyalty, no matter how the relationship felt today. One friend in particular, Elaine, had been in her life since their kids were in school together. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Every lunch turned into a venting session. Complaints, criticism, and negativity, always one-sided, always draining. Margaret would come home feeling heavy, her energy low, her mood sour, and yet, out of guilt or habit, she kept showing up. Until one day, she asked herself a powerful question. Would I choose this friendship today? The answer was no. It was a hard truth to accept. But here's the thing, not every relationship is meant to last forever. People grow, change, evolve, and sometimes, we outgrow those who once fit our lives perfectly. Letting go doesn't mean you're cold or unkind. It means you're honoring your own peace. And at this stage in life, peace is precious. Margaret didn't make a dramatic exit. She simply began to pull back. She stopped forcing conversations that left her empty. She stopped saying yes when her heart whispered no, and slowly she began to reclaim that space for herself, filling it with joy, calm, and people who uplifted her. It's not always easy. There might be guilt, there might be moments of doubt, but walking away from relationships that no longer serve you isn't selfish. It's self-care, it's self-respect. Your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being are valuable. You don't owe your light to people who leave you in the dark. You've earned the right to choose relationships that nourish you, the kind that make you feel seen, heard, and valued. So if there's someone in your life who consistently drains your spirit, take a breath and ask yourself, is this bringing me joy or just wearing me down? Because life after 70 is too short for one-sided connections. Choose peace. Choose yourself. Linda had always admired creativity in others. She'd watch her granddaughter play piano and think, I wish I had learned when I was younger. For years, she believed the window had closed, that trying something new after 70 wasn't realistic, but deep down that curiosity never left her. Then one day, while browsing a community board at the library, she saw a flyer, watercolor for absolute beginners, no experience needed. She almost walked past it, but something inside nudged her to take it, that first class. She spilled half her water jar, and her painting looked more like a puddle than a flower. But she couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, Linda wasn't trying to be perfect. She was just letting herself play. Here's the truth. Being a beginner again at this stage of life isn't foolish, it's freeing. Who says learning is only for the young? In fact, trying new things later in life keeps the brain sharp, boosts mood, and gives your days new purpose. Whether it's painting, learning an instrument, writing poetry, or simply trying gentle yoga, every new experience can spark a sense of wonder. You don't have to be good at it, you just have to be willing. And guess what? You might surprise yourself. Linda did. After painting came piano, after piano, yoga. And now she laughs when someone says, "I'm too old to start something new." She knows that spark doesn't disappear with age. It just waits for permission to reignite. So if there's something you've always wanted to try, a language, a dance class, even pottery, this is your sign, not to be perfect, not to impress anyone, just to enjoy, just to explore. Because life after 70 isn't about slowing down, it's about shifting into what finally feels right. The joy of being a beginner is that there's no pressure, just possibility. Take the class, pick up the brush, press the piano key, see where it leads. You're not too late, you're right on time. For years, Eleanor told herself, technology just isn't for me. She thought learning to use a smartphone or a tablet was for the younger generation, her kids, her grandkids, even the neighbors down the street. But deep inside, she often felt left out when conversations turned to apps, group texts, or funny videos. The turning point came when her granddaughter moved out of state. Suddenly, phone calls felt too short and the distance too long. One afternoon, her son placed a tablet in front of her, opened a video call, and said, "Mom, just press this when you want to see her face." That one tap changed everything. Here's the truth. Technology isn't some intimidating monster. It's a bridge, a way to connect not just to people but to ideas, inspiration, and the wider world. You don't need to master everything at once. Start with just one thing, a video call, a photo app, a recipe search on YouTube. The learning curve may feel steep at first, but every small success builds confidence. Eleanor now watches gentle yoga routines online every morning. She sends funny gifts to her best friend Helen. She even joined a Facebook group of women over 70 who swap book recommendations and share life updates. What once felt foreign now feels empowering. And here's something she didn't expect: learning something new, especially something that once intimidated her, reignited her curiosity and made her feel more independent. No longer did she have to wait for someone to help her look something up or book a doctor's appointment. She could do it herself, at her own pace, on her own terms. So if you've been telling yourself, "I'm not good with technology," try changing the script. Say, "I haven't learned it yet, but I'm open to trying." Ask a grandchild to show you. Take a free class at the library. Watch beginner tutorials online. One tap at a time, you'll open new doors. It's never too late to connect, to learn, to explore. And in this digital age, those taps aren't just for screens. They're for opening up an even richer, more connected life. Lorraine used to second-guess everything: what she wore, what she said, how loudly she laughed. For years, she carried the weight of other people's opinions like an invisible backpack, always wondering, what will they think of me? She was careful, polite, agreeable, even when it meant hiding parts of herself. But something shifted after she turned 75. One afternoon, standing in front of her closet, she reached for a bold turquoise dress she loved but rarely wore. And she thought, why not? That simple question became a turning point. Here's the truth. You've spent a lifetime showing up for others, fulfilling roles, meeting expectations, and walking carefully around judgment. But after 70, you've earned the right to drop all of that. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you dress, what you enjoy, or how you live your life. Wear the bright colors. Speak your mind with clarity. Dance when the music moves you, even if no one else joins in. When you stop worrying about what others think, something remarkable happens. You begin to hear your own voice more clearly. You rediscover your preferences, your passions, your sense of humor. You become more you than ever before, and that's a powerful thing. Lorraine now wears her wide-brimmed hats unapologetically. She signs up for community theater auditions, even if she forgets a few lines. And she's noticed something interesting. When she leads with authenticity, people are drawn to her, not because she's trying to impress them, but because she's free. And let's face it, people are going to have opinions, no matter what you do. So why not do the things that light you up? So next time that inner voice says, will they judge me? Try answering back, does it bring me joy? That's the question that truly matters now. After all, life at this stage isn't about playing small. It's about showing up fully, joyfully, and completely as yourself. For years, Darlene avoided her finances. She paid her bills on time, kept a little in savings, and hoped that everything would work out in the end. The idea of budgets, investments, or long-term care planning felt overwhelming, even intimidating. "I'll deal with it later," she used to say. But after turning 74, she realized something later had become now. Many women avoid looking at their financial picture out of fear. Fear that it's too late. Fear that they won't understand it. Fear of discovering that things aren't as stable as they hoped. But here's the truth. There is deep peace in knowing where your money is going and what it's doing for you. You don't need to be a financial expert. You just need to be informed. Whether you have a modest pension or a comfortable nest egg, clarity brings confidence. It means knowing you can afford the things that truly matter, like quality healthcare, joyful experiences, or even leaving something meaningful behind for loved ones. When Darlene finally sat down with a financial advisor, someone her daughter recommended, she was surprised by how straightforward it really was. They talked about everything: monthly expenses, healthcare options, emergency funds, even travel dreams she'd quietly tucked away. Within an hour, she had a plan. Not a perfect one, but a clear one. And with that clarity came a new sense of control. It's never too late to start. Whether you're reviewing your will, setting up a living trust, or simply figuring out how much you can spend on a hobby you love, every step toward financial clarity is a step toward freedom. Don't let confusion or procrastination rob you of the comfort you deserve in this chapter of life. Understanding your finances isn't just about money. It's about peace of mind, independence, and the ability to make choices that reflect your values and your dreams. Darlene's advice: start now. You'll sleep better and live better, knowing where you stand. For most of her life, Joyce feared growing older, not because of the number, but because of what she thought it meant. Slowing down, fading out, becoming invisible. She used to dread birthdays, brushing past the candles with a forced smile, secretly counting every new wrinkle. But something shifted after she turned 75. She began to realize that aging wasn't something happening to her. It was something she could grow into. Aging isn't about loss. It's about arrival. You've arrived at a stage of life where your time is truly your own. No more chasing approval. No more playing roles you've outgrown. You've raised families, worked hard, survived hardships, and carried joys and sorrows in equal measure. Every line on your face is proof of a story worth telling. Joyce says the moment it all changed for her was on a quiet morning when she saw the sun rise through the mist over her backyard trees. That light, she said, felt like it was just for me. And I realized I'm still here. I still have things to see, things to say, and so much more to feel. We live in a culture obsessed with youth, but youth isn't the only season that holds beauty. There is grace in experience, there is radiance in resilience, and there is unmatched power in perspective, something only time can give. Instead of shrinking from age, what if we leaned into it? What if we chose to see it, not as an ending, but as an expansion, a deepening of who we are? Let's redefine the narrative. Aging isn't a decline. It's a blooming, a quiet becoming. You're not less than you were at 40 or 50. In many ways, you're more compassionate, more grounded, more fully yourself. So go ahead, laugh louder, dress boldly, try something new, or simply sit in the sun and be at peace. However you live it, this chapter belongs to you. Joyce would tell you, I don't fear aging anymore. I'm finally becoming the woman I was always meant to be. Aging isn't about stepping back. It's about stepping into a deeper, freer version of yourself. After 70, life has a way of revealing what truly matters: peace over perfection, connection over obligation, and joy over judgment. The pressures we once carried, chasing beauty, pleasing others, saying yes to everything, no longer serve us. And that's the gift of this chapter: the clarity to release what's heavy and embrace what's true. This is the time to define your own standards of beauty, success, and fulfillment. Whether it's letting go of draining relationships, picking up a paintbrush for the first time, or learning to say no without guilt, every small choice becomes an act of self-respect. You're not too old to try, to grow, to love, or to shine. So take a deep breath. You've earned this freedom. Let each day be guided not by what you should do, but by what lights you up from within. The world needs your wisdom, your laughter, and your unapologetic authenticity. And most of all, you deserve a life that feels good to live, right now exactly as you are. Which of these shifts spoke to you the most? Share your thoughts below. You never know who it might help. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the Wise Senior community. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.